In July 2023, Lionel Messi arrived stateside to undertake a new challenge with Inter Miami. Shortly after, he would be joined by his former teammates Alba, Busquets, and Suarez. But what happens if you move the four of them to the Argentinian league? What impact do they make there? And just like that, we've made it down to the Southern Hemisphere. The four superstars will be lining up with Messi's boyhood club, Newell's Old Boys. Varying in age between 33 and 35, physically they're undoubtedly on the decline. But as technical footballers, as we've seen over the last few years, they continue to perform at the highest level. What's really interesting is just how they'll adapt to this different competition. With Messi, Busquets, and Alba, none of these three have ever competed in a South American league. Suarez, on the other hand, has spent 2 years of his career with Nacional in Uruguay and with Gremio in Brazil, in the process scoring 27 goals in 60 appearances. And here in Argentina, they'll be competing against some of the biggest clubs in world football. In reality, during the 2023 season, River would win a historic 38th title. Newell's would finish down in a disappointing 15th position, falling just short of qualification for continental competition. One clear issue they encountered was a lack of cutting edge in front of goal. During the 41 match regular season, they'd only score 38 times. But now they have four significant upgrades. It looks like Mauricio Larriera's side will be utilising a 4-2-3-1 formation. Let's move through the season and see what happens. It wouldn't take long for our guys to make an impact. A Messi penalty was followed up by a Luis Suarez brace as the side drew 4-4 to Argentinas Juniors on opening day. A week later, and they'd register their first league victory of the campaign. As we've seen time and time again, Busquets is the provider for the Argentine. It wasn't going to be plain sailing. In the opening 4 weeks, Newell's would taste victory just once. This impressive long-range strike against Independiente would prove to be nothing more than a consolation in a 3-2 defeat. A month later, and one of the biggest games of the season, Newell's would make the journey from Rosario to Buenos Aires to face Edinson Cavani's Boca side. Again, Sergio Busquets would be the provider, as this visiting side opened the scoring inside 3 minutes. But what would follow was a disaster. A straight red card for Julian Fernandez scuppered any chance of an unlikely victory. 3 unanswered goals ensured all 3 points remained in the capital. The weeks advanced, still they failed to generate any consistent league form. There were some bright points though, with this nice Messi-Suarez combination. In the final game of the opening stage, it would be a huge Rosario derby. Messi's deflected shot opens the scoring. It would be Alexis McAllister's brother, Francis, who'd provide an equalising assist. An hour later, Abel Hernandez found space in the box and scored the winner for the home side. With 27 matches played, here's how the league table is lining up. Remarkably, it's a very similar position to what happened in reality, but all is not lost. Before we go into the closing stage, let's quickly look at how Newell's performed in other competitions. Their domestic cup campaign would end in early elimination. The Copa Sudamericana offered a chance for continental silverware. Whilst their league form was patchy, the Argentine side would excel in the group stage, scoring 17 goals in 6 matches, on the way to a runners-up spot. That meant facing Chilean giants Colo-Colo in the round of 16. At the heart of their defence is someone who now plays alongside our 4 superstars, Inter Miami's new centre-back, Maximiliano Falcon. The Florida club acquired him for a fee of $2 million this transfer window. And they'll also have a very familiar face in the midfield. Arturo Vidal rejoined the club which developed him in 2024. Already he's added to his trophy collection since donning their colours again. Hosts would be narrowly beaten in the first leg. Rolling back the years, Messi's goal ensured a 2-1 victory away in Santiago, and he'd have to do it all over again in Rosario. Trailing on away goals, elimination was imminent. That was until his 97th minute goal to separate the sides. With further, more convincing victories against Gimnasia and then San Lorenzo, Newell's would book their place in the cup final. Facing an Estudiantes side who'd finished just 2 positions ahead of our guys in the league table, it was going to be close. Luis Suarez would put his side ahead in the 9th minute, which would prove to be the game's only goal. For the first time in their history, Newell's had won a South American competition. And this impressive cup run would correlate into the closing league stage. Finishing in the top 4 meant qualification to the League Cup semi-final. Defence and Justice would be eliminated on penalties as Messi and Co found themselves in their second final of the year. But before we get to that, let's quickly look at Newell's stats. All 4 of them were remarkably durable. Luis Suarez would play the fewest games of the 4, but still managed 32 appearances. His goal return was a little disappointing, considering he managed more than 3 times as many with Gremio. In front of goal, Lionel was a lot more ruthless, finding the back of the net 28 times whilst providing an additional 13 assists. His best form was reserved for the Copa Sudamericana, where he played an essential role in winning the title. In the league, his 20 goals were enough for him to finish joint 5th in the Golden Boot race. But could he avenge his early season defeat to Boca and win a second trophy? Not this time around. The game would be decided by a single goal, and what a goal it was. Boca would triumph in the League Cup final. Combining the 2 stages, Newell's would finish down in 14th position. They really struggled to overcome that slow start to the campaign. Eventually, though, their 4 new signings would make a decent impact in front of goal, as they found the back of the net 30 more times than in reality. Defensively, though, they were porous. Whilst in the league they failed to make a significant improvement, they did win a historic continental title, as once again they proved that age is just a number.